Hi, this is Mr. Mullaney. This is our lesson recap of our lesson about the Reformation. Very important to know what the Reformation. The word reform, we all agreed, was, it sounds like, it means improvements made, right? Reform, you make improvements. The Reformation is based on that, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. What does that have to do with improving something or changing something? But we don't call it the Reformation, we call it the Reformation. We're going to have another instance of this in a minute with our lesson. So what is the Reformation about? Well, let me get you a special guest to help us with this. Hold on. Special guest is my cat, Mickey. And the thing about Mickey is he's got a lot of complaints. He doesn't like his brother Grimace. He doesn't like the fact that his daddy leaves to go somewhere from like 7 in the morning to 5 in the evening. He doesn't like how much food he's fed. He wants more water all over the place. He wants his brother gone. He wants his daddy to only pay attention to him. Thank you, Mickey. I'll let you go now. So those complaints are similar to the complaints that a lot of Catholics had about the Roman Catholic Church in the 1500s in Europe. So what are the complaints? So some of it is the church has gotten too political. It's too involved in politics. It's neglecting religious affairs in favor of politics. The church is too rich and wealthy. It's not paying taxes. And one of the big complaints was the sale of indulgences. So indulgences were if a rich person had committed a sin, they could, according to the Catholic Church, they could reduce their time in purgatory, which is like this awful waiting room where you have to wait to go to heaven. Rather than be in paradise, you're in a waiting room. That's terrible. This is a day and age before cell phones. Oh, what are you going to do? Read magazines? Ugh, the worst. And so wealthy people could buy indulgences. And with these indulgences, they would get that time out of purgatory and they'd be and they'd go right to paradise. So rich people were literally, according to Catholics at the time, buying their way into heaven. So that spawns a lot of complaints. And in the role of Mickey the cat, we have Martin Luther. He was a priest. And in Germany, he tacks 95 theses to the door of a church. And this is like a memorial to that. He puts these 95 theses on the door. Now, back then, that was actually kind of common that if you had a big announcement, you put it on the door of the church. However, this wasn't just an announcement. This was a list. This was an airing of grievances. It didn't like church customs. It didn't like church rituals. And it most certainly did not like the selling of of indulgences. So Luther and his followers become what's known as Lutherans, and they start what's called the Protestant religions. Protestant. So take that word protest, because that's what it was. It was a protest against the Catholic Church at the time. But we're now going to pronounce it Protestant, much like Reform and Reformation. And so you get Protestants and you get the first group of them was the Lutherans. Protestants essentially agree with all the beliefs of divinity of the Catholic Church, believing in the divinity of Jesus Christ. However, they disagree with the Pope. They disagree with the way the Catholic Church organizes things. So Luther is banished by the Holy Roman Emperor. The Pope says, no, this is terrible. But he is successful in really starting a new religion, essentially. Okay. So you get the Reform, you get Calvinists, led by John Calvin. In the Reformation, they believe in predestination, whereby whether or not you're going to heaven has already been determined. However, you should still be good on earth. Okay. And lastly, in this lesson, we talked about the Council of Trent. So the Catholic Church realizes it has some issues. Oh, one last thing about my man Martin Luther and his 95 Theses. Real quick, sorry I forgot this. They are able to become widespread and popular because of the printing press. The printing press is what makes the 95 Theses widespread, and it gives Martin Luther an audience. If he had tacked those onto the church door in 1200s, 1300s, we might not have had a Protestant Reformation. All right, anyway, to the Council of Trent, it's basically a reaction by the Catholic Church. And at the Council of Trent, they say, look, we are going to address some of these complaints like that Mickey the cat had earlier. We're going to stop selling indulgences. So rich people now can't buy their way in heaven. They still have to serve their time in purgatory for sins committed on earth. They also say that bishops are going to have to be closer to their people. They're going to have to actually live in the areas that they administer. However, they say very strongly that they reject the Protestant Reformation and that they are not going to change the fundamental structure of the church and, having a pope in Rome and all that. So that's our brief lesson recap of the Reformation. Thanks, Mickey the Cat, for your appearance and performance. You didn't. I get it. It was okay. Thanks, Mick, and thank you for watching.